Hello everyone, my name is Judah Bates, and this is my cultural anthropology class. It's my final project, and this will be cultural anthropology from a Christian perspective slideshow. I'll be talking about all that I've learned in this class, and I'll be applying a Christian perspective to it. My professor has been Professor Chun, and I just want to say thank you so much for this class, all that you've taught me, all the awesome things I've learned about the anthropological perspective, how to embrace different cultures and how to learn more about them, and how to become an insider with them. This is for my ICST 205X class, and I completed this assignment on May 7th, 2025. So without further ado, let's start the presentation. Cultural anthropology is a description, interpretation, and analysis of similarities and differences in human cultures. The anthropological perspective is a type of research that looks at culture from an insider's point of view. Areas of interest for cultural anthropology include family, education, power, religion, art, and economy. All my citations for this project will either be from Howell and Paris, their book Introduction to Cultural Anthropology, A Christian Perspective, or from the Bible. I used the Bible Gateway website on my browser, and it works very well. Ethnography is both the activity and product of cultural anthropology, or the outworking of it. Ethnography involves living in a culture, learning language and customs, and having long-term observation and interaction. Report is a relationship of conversational ease with individuals or groups, built on trust, understanding, and solidarity. Report makes ethnography easier. Strong report allows anthropologists to become insiders. An ethnographic interview is a purposeful, documented conversation with research participants. It is helpful to have a list of questions, prompts, or topics to discuss. Topics to discuss can include language, clothing, food, art, music, customs, attitudes, behavior, beliefs, religion, rituals, and history. Documented ethnographic interviews can help readers or viewers gain insight into other cultures. For my class, I had an ethnographic interview with my friend Anwar. We're both volunteers at church, and he is part Indonesian Chinese and part Singaporean Malay. And I learned so much about him and his family and his culture from that interview, and I really treasure that interview. Ethnocentrism is a view that goes against the anthropological perspective. Ethnocentrism uses one's own culture to measure another's, putting one's own culture at the center of interpretation, typically devaluing and invariably mischaracterizing the other culture. There are three types of ethnocentrism: xenophobia, cultural superiority, and tacit ethnocentrism. First is xenophobia, an intense, irrational antipathy for people from other countries or cultures. Xenophobia can take the form of anti-immigrant views, discrimination, or violence, but the most common form of xenophobia is racism, the belief that humans are organized into genetically valid race groupings that are different from one another in intelligence and worth. The second type of ethnocentrism is cultural superiority, the belief that one culture is more enlightened, advanced, or civilized than another. Someone with this view believes that they can fix the problems in other cultures. A seemingly inefficient custom might be because of an underlying cultural tradition. For example, cows are not used for meat in India because Indians worship cows. The third and final type of ethnocentrism is tacit ethnocentrism, the assumption that one's own way of life is just normal, not cultural. This is when someone is so ingrained in their own culture that their mindset or worldview is limited to that scope. A classic example of tacit ethnocentrism is the view that Americans don't have accents. Real culture is learned, dynamic, shared, power-laden, and integrated. Culture is learned by the more exposure one receives. Culture is dynamic by adapting to environments and change. Culture is shared because cultures are common among large groups. Culture is power-laden because some cultures have more power than others. And culture is integrated because aspects of one culture can relate to or bleed into another. Stratification and inequality is a pervasive trend across cultures due to the broken nature of our world. Social stratification is the organization of people into ranked groups or hierarchies based on particular characteristics. Social inequality refers more specifically to differential access to economic resources, political power, or social prestige that results from stratification. And social structure refers to the ways people coordinate their lives in relation to one another at the level of society. Aspects of social structure include status, role, race, ethnicity, class, and caste. Status is the position someone holds in society, which can either be achieved or ascribed. Role is a prescribed behavior for a particular status. For example, a working dad and a stay-at-home mom are stereotypical gender roles. Race is a man-made category that divides people into groups based on their biological appearance. Ethnicity divides people into groups based on their cultural connections. Class divides people into groups based on their economical positions, and caste is the most extreme type of this system. Gender involves the various aspects of maleness and femaleness. Gender refers to the sexual identity of a person, whether it be male, female, or something else. Views on gender differ from culture to culture. Certain communities believe there are objectively two genders. Other communities believe in an expanding plethora of genders contingent on personal preference. The process of conforming to the gender standards or norms of society is called gender socialization. A Christian's response to cultural anthropology. The anthropological mindset is the way God calls Christians to view the world. Romans 12:18 says, "If it is possible, as far as it depends on you, live at peace with everyone. Galatians 3:28 says, "There is neither Jew nor Gentile, neither slave nor free, nor is there male and female, for you are all one in Christ." Christians can utilize cultural anthropology to effectively communicate the gospel and effectively lead the church. The gospel can be communicated better when Christians learn about the beliefs, customs, and symbols of other cultures. Missionaries regularly become insiders of foreign cultures in order to bring the gospel to them. Instead of judging cultures and trying to convert them, Christians can find common ground with others. This method builds rapport and softens hearts. Revelation 7:9 says, "After this I looked, and there before me was a great multitude that no one could count, from every nation, tribe, people, and language, standing before the throne and before the Lamb." We can see that the Bible does not reject other cultures, but rather embraces diversity. Leadership needs the support of community, and community can only survive with a leader. Christian leaders can do their job best when their congregation feels fully seen and represented by them. The best way a leader can gain respect and dedication from their congregation is to become an insider of their culture. That means learning the customs, style, or even language of the community. Only when a basis of cultural understanding and solidarity has been established will the congregation truly heed the words of the leader. One example I want to share about this cultural integration of leadership is from my own church, Kingdom City. We are a international church. We have about 25 campuses across different countries, and two of the campuses we have, one is in Hong Kong and the other is in Bali, Indonesia. And we had 4 really amazing leaders, husband and wife, so a husband and wife and a husband and wife. And we needed new pastors for the Bali church, and we needed new pastors for the Hong Kong church. And so we, from Singapore, we sent out these 2 pairs. One husband and wife went to Bali, and the other pair went to Hong Kong. And they integrated themselves in the Bali and in the Hong Kong church. Sorry, that was my phone. And as they slowly integrated themselves, they became the head pastors of the Bali church and the Hong Kong church. And the way they were able to do that is when they became an insider of that culture. Colossians 3:11. Here there is no Jew or Gentile, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbarian, Scythian, slave, or free, but Christ is all and is in all. And here I wanted to use a picture of a field of lambs because I love the picture of Jesus as our shepherd, and all of us are sheep. It doesn't matter what color of our wool is. It doesn't matter what herd we're in. We all are sheep, and we all have one shepherd. Here's my Works Cited page. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you all learned something from it. And thank you again, Professor Chun, for your amazing cultural anthropology class. Bye.